Gonna start in Portuguese and then we start in English, okay? Pode ir na Pan diretamente aqui desse centro de convenções incrível que está hoje uma constelação literal dentro dessa magnitude de evento, Five Ciano, mais de 20 nacionalidades. Estamos tendo aqui também o G20, que são os jovens empreendedores, uma aliança que estão fazendo, metas para 2030. E nós estamos aqui com Kleber Isaac.
Thank you very much for having me here. Very excited, and what a country you have, what a city.
Oh, that's really nice, and we're going to be speaking in English, but then you can translate it in the on the things there and on the YouTube. And then we edit this.
It's no problem. You can call it.
Okay, Kleber. Well, first of all, thank you very much for being here. Thanks for having this conversation and to share with us your view of the world, because here we are in a global event. And share with our audience a little bit more about yourself, like what brings you here, how do you see Brazil so far?
Marcos, thank you very much for having me here. I'm very happy. First time for me in Brazil, in the city of Goiânia as well. Beautiful country, a lot of dynamic, nice nature that you have around. So this event especially was for me like an invitation from the organization that I belong. So I represent also Ecuadorian Young Entrepreneurship Committee and also the Ibero-America. So it's like Latin America plus Spain. I came here because I really like to connect with people, to match, to see opportunities, business-wise. We do international trade, connecting China with Latin America. Currently, we have offices in the Republic of China, Peru, and Ecuador. We want to open next year in Colombia, but Brazil is not a market that we haven't entered yet, and there is a lot of potential. I'm also looking for opportunities here.
That's very good. And Kleber, could you tell us a little bit more about Expand LATAM, just
Sure.
like your company?
Sure. When I was 17 years old, like back then, I was first time in China, like around 15 years ago. So I just started helping clients from Latin America to, for example, visit a factory, go to a market, go to an exhibition, to a fair, and translate them. So I slowly, while I was studying university, I started doing international trade. Once the clients went back home, I stayed there with purchase orders. So I follow the orders, I make sure the payment was done, and then we check the goods, and then we ship back the goods to any country, Chile, Argentina, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, any country. A few years ago, like around 5, we established a company, and then we are just keep growing, and we are lucky to have a nice team, young professional people, learning and knowing the language, the culture, which is important, I guess, to do business with the other side of the world.
Oh, that's really nice. And since you brought that up, like the language barriers, what other barriers could Brazilians in specific expect while doing this kind of transactions?
Like in general, I guess Latin America, people don't speak that much English. I think Brazil is also the case. So I think it's important, of course, like English, right? But with the Chinese, which is the factory of the world, what I normally mention, it's much better if you can speak Chinese, At the companies, there is people who speaks in English, but of course the older generation or the owners of the factory and different companies, they do speak Chinese, so it's better if you have this direct connection.
That's really good, but since Chinese is so big, just like Brazil, but Brazil we only have one language, Portuguese. Chinese, we have like thousands and thousands of dialects.
Yeah.
Which one of these languages would you expect us to learn if we were doing business with China?
Yeah, well, as you said, different provinces have different dialects. That's why they have the Putonghua, which is the standard Chinese, right? So it's the Mandarin Chinese. That's the normal one that everyone speaks. And it's interesting because sometimes if you don't understand to them, they write you in Chinese, so they pretend or they wish you can understand by reading it.
Oh, that's really nice. So they wish you to know their culture so they can make business with you better, right?
Also, yeah.
But like, since you've been there for 15 years, 14 to 15 years, so what did you see growing on that period of time? Because China established like a worldwide connection so big now that maybe you could share with us like how this trajectory was.
Yeah, it's been a lot of changes in the country. Every time that I go there, because I'm now going back and forth like 3-4 times a year, we have the team there, so every time that I go there I see something new. For example, it's a cashless society. no one uses cash. There is, the super apps where you can call a taxi, book a hotel, buy a plane ticket, pay, everything in one, just in app, right? So I've been looking this transformation of the culture itself, the people itself, how they start even behaving at the metro station, for example. I see a lot of improvement in different areas. Also, as a government, they have improved their ecosystem, like the air quality or reducing the factories, like trying to control a lot of different aspects, education, a lot of investment in infrastructure, science, technology. China now also exports a lot of technology, so it's great if we have a good relationships also with this country. My country itself, I'm from Ecuador. We have a free trade agreement lately. And yeah, it's good to become, as you mentioned before, international and look for new opportunities, and why not in China?
That's really good. And I was wondering, since you said Ecuador and said relations with China, do you think it's better for us to import to Ecuador and then come to Brazil? Is it cheaper, or is it cheaper to go from China to Brazil?
Well, that's a great question, right? We should start doing some
math.
My guess is better to import directly to Brazil. It will depend also, whenever we want to import something from China, it's very important to analyze as a project. For example, first, which product should you import? Because there are so many products, right? How do you choose the proper product that you want, that you need? If you already have something, it's better because you know what you want already. Then finding suppliers, we have different platforms. You can travel to China, go to some fairs, exhibitions, find the suppliers, verify if they are real or not. People, not from any country, but we all sometimes, have to be careful, So we can do some factory audits. After, when the products are done, we can do quality control, loading supervision. We make sure documents are all in order, and you have a projection, like a forecast of all the costs. So like if in China this costs $5, in Brazil it will cost you in your warehouse 7.5, for example. In advance the final price. It's very important.
Oh, that's really nice. And since we're getting to the end of this conversation, because we could be here for a whole day, I'm pretty sure.
You've been also in China, so you know a lot about China.
Oh my, yes, yes.
Nice,
and China is like a vibrant country and really innovative and technological.
Yes.
And I really enjoy China. But I would like to know, Kleber, what would you tell people that want to make their first steps into exporting or working with products from China, or maybe even exporting products from Brazil to China? What are the first steps?
I will tell them to go, for example, online and see a little bit about the consumer behaviors. Like in China, what are they looking for now? What are they buying? Purchase power has gone up a lot. There is 1.3 billion people, so middle class is also very willing to buy products from abroad. And analyze the market, establish a good strategy, and see opportunities like get consulting or some people or companies that can help you with. And if you want to import, there is a lot of platforms online, Alibaba, Made in China, Global Sourcing, where you can start looking for prices. Don't be afraid, just talk to some suppliers and try to negotiate a little bit. I met once a good entrepreneur from Brazil. We met in Shanghai, in China. So she went to the market, she visited the place, and then she said, wow, amazing prices, beautiful designs, but at the end she didn't import. So I recommend action is also very important. Decide, analyze, but you have to do it. So take an action,
That is really good, and because action makes it happen, right?
Yes, action
and that's the motor of the society that you have to do. And final thoughts about China-Brazil relations. What are you looking for in this environment here, in this event specifically, in Goiás, Goiânia, middle of Brazil?
Yeah. Well, I was surprised reading that Goiânia actually has been growing in the last years 6% yearly, while the country itself is only 2 point something percent. So that's where I came also to see more about the city. Yesterday I also went to a rooftop. I can see a lot of real estate in the city. So I'm happy to know that, of course, Brazil and China also has good relationships. I believe in international trade, exchange of goods. And yeah, I always say what China offers, Brazil could need it, and what Brazil needs it, China also has it. So it's a mutual win-win situation where we all can win. We can also study some Chinese and try to talk to some suppliers and see many opportunities. The event was very nice. I've met a lot of people, not only from Brazil, of course, but even Saudi Arabia, Mexico, France, Canada, and many other countries, Kenya. So I'm very excited. I'm sure we're going to close some deals around.
That is really good. Last question, because like you told me, and that was the last question, but now one again. Since you said like you established connections with other countries here, what other countries are really reciprocate with China right now? Other than Brazil, which ones could you like set as an example of good relations?
Yeah, well, as I said, like Ecuador ourselves, we don't need a visa to enter China, so we have 30 days free entrance. And also Peru, they just have one of the largest ports, harbors in the region, and it's from Costco, so it's like a private also port. So it's gonna bring more and more. Actually, that port is gonna connect Brazil, so they can take what you were asking, take it faster, the raw materials directly, and then it will be faster to China. So there is a lot of opportunities, yes.
Oh, okay.
Peru. Chancay is the name of the port. It's a huge investment it's gonna be opening this November.
Oh my God,
welcome,
so it's now.
Xi Jinping, Chinese president, will be attending there and will be inaugurating the port. It's a very interesting news.
That is really good news.
Brazil and China connection.
That is really good. Kleber, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for sharing this with us. Like I said, we could be speaking here for hours and hours, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be outstanding connections. Pessoal, é isso daí. Pode ir na Pan. Aqui diretamente do Ciano 5 G20, mais de 20 nacionalidades aqui presentes, muita informação, muitas finanças, muitas inovações, muitas tecnologias, enfim, coisas incríveis aqui. Pode ir na Pan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Very nice.
Very nice.
Cool.
See you, man.